the COVID that hit, you know, all the restaurants that shut down, it's unfortunate because they really made it impossible for them to get back up. So you're lucky, like at the time that happened to you, you didn't have
to deal with it.
To deal with, well, you had to deal with it, but
not COVID because you had already sold it by the time COVID hit.
No. I'm saying like
I think there's a lot of malfeasance in COVID where they wanted businesses to be
what I mean is he didn't have that. 9/11 was actually something happened, but he could build himself back up. These people all just went out of business because there was nothing they could do.
Yard House made it through COVID.
Yeah, the government didn't say stay home.
Right, that's what I mean. Like you're very lucky that was the only.
But there were so many government restrictions during COVID. I didn't go through it, but I can just see what I saw. That really, I think they intentionally prevented businesses from succeeding. Sorry to say.
And why
transfer of wealth?
Well, look at Florida compared to California. Do you think that governor treated this state differently? I mean, his state differently than our governor?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
So there's the difference. So in some states they thrived, some states they succeeded, and I think in other states the government intentionally caused a lot of businesses to shut down.
And why do you think that is in California they did that? Why?
It's just, that's a deeper show.
Is that a different podcast?
That's very, very deep because it is. It's all everybody.
You said transfer of wealth. What does that
mean?
Well,
you have a lot of conspiracy theories. You can't. So nobody can put their hand on it.
In COVID, corporations were able to stay open. Mom and pops had to close, so therefore people stopped using mom and pops. They went out of business, and now all we get to go to is like a Walmart, Amazon. So they transferred the wealth of those people to the uber rich people. Kind of what COVID did. Even if it wasn't intentional, that was the result of COVID.
I think there's a big picture. We just don't know what all the moving parts are yet. But
in 2050, 2080,
to me, it's rather obvious what happened.
Well, no, so for my take on the whole COVID thing was when they were shutting down all the mom and pop stores and telling our stores and restaurants just saying, you know, you can't. And then all of a sudden they're like, but you can get your food from this big conglomerate. But and then all the government officials had invested in that conglomerate. You're like, wait a minute.
Well, there's numerous examples of flipping.
So I always tell people, follow the money. If they mandate something that's this extreme, follow the money. Who has an investment in that mass company? Who has an investment in that?
All I remember is when the line flattens in 2 weeks.
Oh,
what?
That kind of rounds the whole thing up.
What happened?
Remember at the very beginning, they're like, we just need the
we're just going to shut down for a week.
2 weeks, flatten the curve.
Well, yeah, just wait till it flattens.
All my friends got mad at me because I was like, that's not going to happen. I was like, 20.
No, because they saw the money rolling in. They had to keep it shut.
Everybody believed what they were saying in the beginning, and you have to if there's a pandemic.
Yeah, if people were dying in the streets,
but then you start going, wait a minute.
Yeah,
it's smelling fishy.
Well, yeah, like.
That line's not going to flatten.
But I think it was basically at the end of the whole COVID situation, and I don't know what powers it be and why. I really feel that they were trying to, like you said, transfer ownership and power.
I don't think it was intentional. I think it was a nice.
It for sure was intentional.
No, it became intentional eventually when you had so much time. But what I'm saying is originally it was for everyone's best good. We don't know how bad this is, but once they figured out that it wasn't as bad as they thought it was, they didn't care and they just kept.
Yeah.
Do you think government officials were going to?
But every state was different. Every governor was different. You have to remember the governors were in charge.
Yeah, not the president, the governors.
Was that why?
That's why California's different.
I would flip it. Since I'm sitting here, it's the people that survived through that. That's what if I was in that situation, I wasn't. I'd figure out how to survive. I mean, how to succeed. Overcome things.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of restaurants did takeout, their takeout
Ghost
business.
kitchens.
And now they still have their takeout in addition to all their business coming back.
Yeah, which is great.
But a lot of restaurants closed. A lot of them.
Yes.
So
didn't at one point in time, was it New York or was it LA that lost something like 40% of all their restaurants?
New York lost
I mean, that's like never opened again.
Thousands of jobs. And then it changed the whole work attitude.
Everyone's getting paid more to stay at home.
That's everybody got used to staying on their couch. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's still a problem today.
Right. The couch potato culture is huge right now.
When COVID was on its big, we still, I helped run a paint company, and we couldn't get people to come to work because we couldn't pay them enough to make it worth it because they were making more money sitting at home than going to work.
Yep.
And it's like, how do you compete with that? There's not enough money for us to pay you more. So it's like, trying to get people
little taste of socialism for everybody.
Yeah, and it just.
But also, it's interesting because right now, we're a lifestyle podcast on we like to hear both sides. I'm independent, and there's Republican and Democrat, and they're constantly arguing about the pandemic being good for the economy, then the pandemic being bad for the economy. Okay, we don't even know what the outcome is yet, because supposedly, I was just told by Dr. Barkey, they're still mandating COVID rules and regulations to college students to get their master's degree to be a doctor.
Depends what state you're in.
Depends on who's making the money. Or how is this working?
What university you're at?
But to me, it just
it all ties to the where it's red. Is it blue? Liberal,
really?
Conservative, all those things.
So what do you think? Do you think that Bobby Kennedy has any chance? He's independent, or you
chance
think,
of winning?
No.
But he has a chance of changing the outcome.
You think so? Yeah. Because there is now another party, which.
But I think the more people accept him, the more a place will be created for him. Maybe not president, but something else.
Yeah, maybe as a top advisor or something like that.
Yeah.
But you got to appreciate his input.
But I think also we have there's a big issue with red or blue, and both sides have some points that make sense, but for the most part, the divide is extremely powerful right now, and
they're pushing it.
But they used every political angle as far as different groups to win, like the red and blue. I'm not going to say red or blue, but they use
divide and conquer. That's literally
But they're causing people to fight, and it's not working anymore. So now these parties are going crazy because these little groups that they pick to fight against each other isn't working. So what do you think the next step is politically that they're going to try and, besides another pandemic? I've been told that we're going to have another pandemic just for the heck of it.
They keep trying.
Okay, so we have to be lazy
everything's coming
again?
down to the presidential election. That's the focus. So,
but what do you think is going to be the next step of them trying to sway liberal or Republican?
They're spending probably tens of millions of dollars each side to figure out how to win the election, and we don't know what they're going to come up with. I mean, it's been. Putting people against other people, we don't know yet. And you'll start seeing really soon, all of a sudden out of nowhere, everyone's going to get outraged about something stupid, and it's them pushing it.
But still, has it always been this way as far as an election year, kind of this big fight between red and blue? Or is it just because of social media? We hear it, I hear it, for some reason, if I click on one thing on TikTok, I'm a Republican. But if I click on another thing, I'm getting a liberal feed. So I don't understand.
Well, how far back do you want to go?
Yeah, because I mean, here's the thing: okay, so I'm 40,
I think it's always been like that.
So I'm 48 years old, and probably haven't been paying attention to politics for only like 10 years.
I haven't either. Yeah.
So I'm more. I noticed that the older you get, the more you care, and the more you have the energy to care.
Well, that's true. I care more now,
and because you realize, okay, I've got a daughter. What am I going to leave for her? And it doesn't. It's crazy, but the more I look at the past, this is exactly the same thing they've ever done. They just got better tools to try to convince us of their.
Well, I think the system's lost its integrity, morality, honesty.
I believe that.
I don't think anybody cares what they say anymore. There used to be a time when if you called somebody in politics a liar, it was a big thing. Now everybody lies, as far as I'm concerned. So the whole system has really gone to shit.
Yeah. How are they going to? I mean.
But, pendulums change. You got a pendulum and it comes back.
So. Right.
Yeah, that's the way I like it, or at least the way I've been noticing. I personally don't think if either side takes control for too long, turns to shit, and it kind of needs to just kind of go swerving down the middle.
Well, I think the country has a pendulum from left to right.
Yeah, but that's
are we left right now or are we right now?
We're way left right now.
We're way left
right now.
So now we're trying to sway it to the right.
We can really only come back.
There's no going downhill from here. We're already in the shitter.
No, but a pendulum. So if you go way left, it's got to come right. So it's not going to come all the way right, but it's just going to come back a little. So
it takes a lot more energy. The further right you go, the more energy it takes, and eventually there's not enough energy, and it comes back.
So do you think that if we go further right, we're going to clean up Los Angeles and all the streets, or how are we going to clean this mess up?
New York used
Whatever
to be,
just happened,
New
it's
York
a disaster.
Used to be really bad too, and they've cleaned it all up, and now it's bad again.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was told. I was told it
bad
was
cities like San Francisco now that aren't what they used to be in LA is at some point become a really ripe opportunity for investment.
Okay, so I was told
the real estate values are down, everything's down. Now you can come in.
They killed all the farmers like they stopped pushing water to the farmers, so they couldn't farm. They all went out of business. And then apparently some hedge fund groups came in and bought like hundreds of thousands of acres in California for cheap, like pennies on the dollar.
They're going to start farming.
And they're going to start farming now.
Yeah, because now they
and
got
now
the
they
water
have
rights.
water
Yeah.
because they're seeding the clouds and now there's water. I'm like, how is this freaking possible? Daily Logic Check. If you're loving the show, click like, subscribe, and support us on Patreon. Peace, love, and happiness. Daily Logic Check.